It is my great honor to introduce the moment where we want to honor two incredible leaders of SEIU.
We have to stand up for our brothers. We're gonna fight! We're gonna fight!
Mike gives you the impression that you have to empower yourself.
He have a big heart for the members. I feel he always put member first.
He walked me through. He walked us through as a union.
What drives me is the simple need that everyone should be treated with respect. It's been 41 years since I went to work for the union, and while there's been bad days and there's been good days, all days have been worthwhile. It's been an incredible journey.
Mike's history is one of a lot of challenges.
My father was actually not born here. He was born in Russia and is now the Ukraine. His father, who was active in the revolution in Russia, was captured, put in jail, and executed. He and my grandmother had to escape, so much like all the immigrants who come here today from war-torn countries. It's so much a part of who I am and what our family has been through. When I was a kid, as the only Jewish family in the neighborhood, it was not simple. My parents were very strong progressives. I learned a lot of lessons from them and the way they saw the world.
So they would ask a waiter, are you getting fair wages and what kind of health insurance do you have? They were curious about how people were treated and were they treated appropriately.
I started out as a carpenter. Still one of the best experiences of my life when 200 other carpenters had to vote us into the union. The first organizing victory I had, only 35 people, but it was an incredible experience to have 35 people come together and feel like they could change their lives, and I was part of that.
He eventually came to SEIU, and SEIU has been the best thing for him. Just amazing, brilliant people who wanted to make massive changes, and they did.
My dad, he always has amazing advice, and I think that he embodies that in his leadership style. The first principle is the one that sticks with me always, is this love for people and this passion and compassion, and that together we can actually make this world better and do great things.
I often think about what drives me to do this work, and there is so much inequality, and so many people have to live in circumstances that are inhumane. In this work, I get to do something about it.
I've been single mom for 20-something years. And when you could afford to raise your children and pay rent, pay the bills, to have job protection, it's something really very special.
When we fight! When we fight!
We're going to be supporting each other to get good benefits, good wages, and a good contract. It's a dangerous time, and a time that people have to be engaged and have to be willing to fight. But that's when you can be brave, is when you're afraid. The most difficult in New York was at 9/11. We had 1,200 members who worked at the towers, 10,000 members who were around the towers.
From the very beginning, he was amazing. He just got everybody working together. He asked me to come to New York and help talk to his workers and see what we could do. And we set up a program for 32BJ, which was the first one in the city that actually worked with the families of the deceased.
You get through something like that together and you actually take action together. You don't forget that.
We want health care! We want pension! Stand up for good wages! Stand up for all working people!
Being the leader is always about making choices, and so try and keep a compass about what's right and stay focused on that. And if the compass is about what's right for the members, you'll probably end up doing the right thing.
One of the main principles that my father always taught me was to respect everyone and to demand respect for yourself.
Even though we're janitors and cleaners, we're the invisible force, he makes us visible.
He came along and he reached into the heart of us. He really grabbed us and held us until we can hold ourselves.
When we come together, it's the moment when I feel the best. It's that sense that we can accomplish something together. To see the Fight for 15 start with fast food workers in New York and become a minimum wage law, to see people actually getting enormous changes in their lives, that's exciting for what's going to happen in the next few years. Part of what makes an organization work is many voices being raised, everyone being listened to, and people making compromises to move ahead. My advice really to every new member is own it. Don't give it to somebody else. It takes strong leadership, not just from those who are in power in the organization or who have authority, but from members, and not be afraid to speak up, or if they are afraid, to speak up anyhow. I've gotten back thousands of times more than I've given. Thank you for really a rich life. That's been my privilege to serve on behalf of everyone.
Thank you, Mike, for making me a believer.
I want to say thank you, Mike Fishman. You are a great person and you was a great president. And 32BJ loves you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, thank you. Thank you so much. I want to thank Mary Kay for these last 4 years, for her leadership, for the Fight for 15, for the privilege of working with all of you as one of your elected leaders. Thank you, Mary Kay. Yeah, thank you. I've been honored and fortunate to have my work in life be also my passion for the last 41 years. I've been privileged to serve working people from my first local, 314 Madison, Wisconsin of the Carpenters, to 32BJ. Yeah, and to SEIU. You've been my other family to my wife and my daughter. And so I thought it'd be appropriate for me to introduce you to them and them to you on this last moment here, since you really haven't always gotten to know each other. So I want to introduce you to my wife and partner, Lorraine Beaulieu, who is Quebecoise, who knows me better than anyone else and has lived through all these years, has made it possible for me to do this work with her support and love and compassion. It's made it work. But I should tell you who herself is an extraordinary person, a psychologist, and also a fighter for justice who helped people through 9/11, helped them come back from the attacks. And my daughter, Caitlin, who missed her dad being home, but we've managed to stay close, and who, in her own right, is a strong, vibrant woman of stature that she should be as part of a union and part of a union family. These two are my heart, but part of my soul has been with the union. And to 32BJ, I want to say thank you to the members and leaders who have given me a life beyond my own family, has given me another family. And when you hear 32BJ, that's about us being together and united, and that's the kind of spirit that we all have together. And I want to thank SEIU, that is everybody in this room, because I have had an incredible life. And not just all of you, but every member of SEIU or my local, the Carpenters, where I started 40 years ago, because it's given me this ability to have this feeling, a moment like we all have when we all stand together and scream together and take on the boss together. Instead of being alone and isolated, we're part of something much bigger, and it sends that shiver through your body that makes you feel powerful and strong. And that's what we all crave. And that's the gift that has been given to me by all of you. These 40 years that I've had in the labor movement have been remarkable, and I've been enriched by all of you way beyond anything that I've done to help others. And so I thank you. I thank you very much. I thank you for being my family, and I thank you more than I can say. So the last thing I want to say is 2 words: Fishman out. Thank you.
Every kid, no matter what color they are, how much money they have, where they come from, has a chance to have a decent life. That's what public service is all about.
I think that her life's work has been fueled by the way she was brought up and the things that she experienced in her childhood.
I was the oldest of 6 kids. For a short time, we lived in public housing, and I remember when my dad lost his job, and I remember how he felt, how he came home, and how he was ashamed.
Mom grew up with several siblings on a farm in central Pennsylvania. Dad was a truck driver, and my mother, Eileen, was the oldest sibling, and so throughout her whole life, she's had to support her family and be there for her siblings when her parents couldn't be.
You know, she was a public worker, a social worker, you know, she was an activist, and she comes from that place. Under Eileen's leadership, we've become one of the most important public employee unions in the country.
She's restored the pride that people have in public service. She's created the goal in this union that says we're going to transform government, and public workers are going to be at the center of that transformation.
She wears her purple with pride. She loves all of the members and the leaders of SEIU.
Eileen always is thinking about, how am I going to help lift somebody up?
I would definitely describe Eileen as a humble spirit. If you walked into a room with family child care providers, she'd be sitting right there in the middle of us. You wouldn't know her from any of us. You would just figure, oh, look at all those child care providers. And then there's Eileen, the pioneer of this whole child care campaign.
She is driven by being true to the union's essential value of we're all in this together, and we better have each other's backs.
I am going to stand with you and fight with you to get the funding that you need.
If I had 3 words to describe Eileen, I would say she's passionate, she's caring, and she's incredibly tough.
She's tougher than she looks.
Eileen is kind and Eileen is tough.
If you think she's soft, she is not. If you think she's fragile, she is not. She's tough, she's direct, and she's very thoughtful.
It's this standard that she has about she can always do better, we can always do more, and she holds herself accountable to that standard, and she holds the whole division to that standard.
Eileen is very soft-spoken until she's not. I always know that we're about to get to a crucial moment because Eileen will call me up and say, so darling, we need to talk.
She is tough as nails, and then incredibly full of love, and has the ability, unlike most people I know, to sort of turn one on and off in a way that invites people in and builds a bigger organization.
So when you talk to Eileen one-on-one, it's close, it's friendly. But then when she walks away from that close, personal, friendly conversation and then has to get on a stage and talk to 5,000, 10,000 people, all of a sudden she becomes a giant, but a giant who connects with everybody in that audience, and it's not fake.
Members and staff were sent from all around the country, and that's how we did that organizing, because people stood up for each other in this division.
She is the reason why public workers in this union feel hope and confidence about the future.
She is willing to take on any task, take on any fight, and speak up and speak the truth at any time to help the members of this organization and to help working people.
I don't think I could be the president I am today without having Eileen in the background, constantly pushing me.
Sometimes you're not confident in certain areas, and then once you have this conversation with Eileen, she helps you recognize that, and then she helps you feel more comfortable in being who you are.
Like, I have to say, the most refreshing thing to me about her is, as the president of this union, I have an officer who is unequivocal about putting her hand up in the air and saying, I don't get what the hell you're talking about.
She will ask the clarifying question. She will ask the question everybody else in the room wants to ask but is afraid to ask. And she will keep digging until she gets to the bottom of the problem and then build an answer based on that.
It's sort of this fiction she creates about herself, which is, I'm not as fast as the rest of you, I'm not as smart as the rest of you, and we all know that this is a shtick that Eileen has, and that in most cases she's often the most brilliant person in the room.
She knows how to talk to you and make sure that you understand what the plan is, but she makes you feel like you came up with it. And then she sends you on your merry way.
If my mom was not a leader at SEIU, she would definitely be a yoga instructor.
I'm just finding out stuff about Eileen that I didn't know. I had no idea she was into yoga and meditation.
She goes on these yoga retreats, and we all in the division look forward to it because we know when she comes back, she's going to be even more supportive.
One day I was looking for her, and I was looking all over the building. Her office was dark, and I went back into her office to leave a note, and I was startled to find her sitting there meditating in the middle of the day. And so that's Eileen. In the middle of chaos, she was ready to get into the storm.
She's always been a very patient and peaceful person, and I really admire that about her and try to embrace those two qualities about Mom and bring them into myself.
If you ever get the privilege to meet my mother, she is amazing and wonderful.
I've really grown to respect her because she respects me.
She's one of the best people I know. She's courageous, she's thoughtful, she's smart, and she's a human being at the deepest level.
Eileen wants everybody to have dignity in their lives, dignity in the way that they are seen.
Through the work over the last 4 years, I've really grown to love her. You know, as a human being and as an incredible leader and mentor, and you know, I'm gonna miss her a lot.
She's an amazing human being.
What's her name?
Eileen Kirlin! We are making the road by walking, and we are creating hope. And that is what our movement is all about. It's hope. It's hope for every kid. It's hope for every family, and it's hope for our communities.
Good afternoon. The last time I spoke to you was 2008 in Denver. My mom was being elected executive vice president. Today is a little bit different. Wow. Like, there's so much energy here. You guys still got it. Mom, you're wonderful. You're so strong. You're hardworking. You're patient. And I love you. And although you're retiring, you are unstoppable, just like this union.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. I love this union. I love this union. I love this union. Thank you, thank you. When I wake up every day, I meditate, and then I pray. And I pray and I thank God for the union. I thank God for the members. I thank God for the local leaders, because that is the toughest job there is in the union. And then I thank God for Mary Kay Henry, because she is an incredible leader. She is so fierce, she is fearless, and she has such incredible faith in workers, right? And I thank her so much for giving me this incredible opportunity, and for all of you who elected me in 2012. I thank Mike Fishman. He's been a great partner. He's been a great secretary-treasurer. He is really kind of calm, strategic, has enormous capacity to do all kinds of work, and I am so happy for him and his family that he's going to be able to also retire. I want to thank all the officers I served with. It was a great team. I love them. They love you. They do great work. Tom DeBruin, who you saw in that video, and many of you know from Healthcare Pennsylvania, is one of the most phenomenal leaders in our union, and he has been a great partner for me. I want to thank my family. You met my beautiful son, Sam, and you heard my beautiful daughter, Anna. And this is my husband, who is the love of my life. I love him more every day. 44 years ago, I started work in the state of Pennsylvania as a state worker, and I met an incredible person who has been my best friend, Anna Berger. We worked in the same shop, and we were shop stewards together, and I met Andy Stern in a wildcat strike. And we have been best friends, the two of them, our whole lives, and we have raised our children together and our families together. And I want to thank them so much for being here and for being in my life. When I started in Pennsylvania, when we started that work, it was a year after they had passed collective bargain. And you've heard me say this before, but I'm going to say it again because I believe in this to my very core. We got collective bargaining because of the work of steel workers and mine workers and auto workers and private sector workers who fought for public workers. And those same workers have lost their standard of living, their health care, and their pension, and they've lost the union. And what I've said to the public division, and I'm so proud of every member and every leader who've answered this call, which is we are called to give the union back, right? We are called to help all private sector workers organize and to raise them up. So brothers and sisters, this union is a gift. It has been an incredible gift to me. I thank you so much, and thank you, God, for Mary Kay Henry.
It's so wonderful, isn't it, when you can express appreciation for leaders who have made such an incredible contribution to our union. I thank the delegates of SEIU at the 26th International Convention for joining us in paying tribute to our Secretary-Treasurer, Mike Fishman, and to our Executive Vice President, Eileen Kirlin. They have been huge partners in the struggle for justice for me personally and for all of us.